If your income depends on you producing, if the money comes in when you show up and slows down when you don't, then you already understand something most people don't talk about clearly. The income looks strong, but the structure underneath it often isn't. Because when you're earning well, the pressure doesn't go away. It just gets quieter, more subtle, less obvious, until something changes. Because income dependency doesn't feel like risk when things are working. It feels like momentum. It feels like control. But the reality is, it's still tied to you. And that means it can stop. And this is where most high earners live. Not in failure, but in exposure. And this is exactly why T-Pain's story matters. Because from the outside, it looked like he had everything figured out. Massive income, massive visibility, massive opportunity, hit records, production credits, features on nearly every major artist's project at the time. Between 2005 and 2010, T-Pain wasn't just relevant, he was everywhere. He had chart-topping albums like Rappa Turnt Sanga and Epiphany. He was producing, writing, performing, touring consistently, and generating income from multiple directions at once. Record sales, touring, features, production, publishing. At one point, he was reportedly making millions per year, not over time, per year. And from the outside, that looks like the kind of income that should create permanent security. But this is where most people miss the real problem. High income does not equal structural leverage. High income is power, but only if it's converted into something that can exist without you. Otherwise, it's just cash flow, and cash flow is not durability. Now here's where the story shifts, because T-Pain didn't just lose momentum, he lost structure he never fully built. In multiple interviews, T-Pain has openly said, at one point, he went from having millions to having almost nothing left. He talked about checking his bank account and seeing $1,400 after earning millions. That's not a small decline, that's a structural collapse. And this is where people usually jump to conclusions. They assume bad spending, bad decisions, bad habits. But that's not the full picture, because the real problem wasn't the income. The real problem was the system around it. And this is where everything changes. T-Pain's income was heavily tied to being in demand, being relevant, being present, being needed. When the demand slowed, when the industry shifted, when trends changed, the income slowed with it, and there wasn't enough structure in place to replace it. This eventually catches up, not because someone failed, because the system was never built to last without production. So let's diagnose it clearly. What was missing? Separation, control, durability, ownership of systems that could continue generating income without constant output. Because when income flows directly to you and gets spent directly from you, without structure, without insulation, without conversion into assets, you're not building wealth, you're managing cash flow. And cash flow is temporary. This is where most high earners actually are. Not in failure, but in exposure. They're earning well, they're producing, they're moving, but everything still runs through them. And that means everything depends on them. So let's bring it back to you. Because this isn't about T-Pain anymore. This is about your structure. If your income stopped tomorrow, what would still pay you? Not what you could rebuild, not what you could figure out. What would still exist? That question is the entire game. Because most people don't answer it until they're forced to. Now here's where T-Pain's story becomes different. Because it doesn't end in collapse. It turns into a rebuild, and that part matters. Because after losing most of what he had, he didn't disappear. He adapted. He started creating again. He leaned into streaming, gaming, content, new forms of engagement, new ways to generate income, and he rebuilt. But here's the key difference. Rebuilding income is not the same as building structure. And this is where most people repeat the cycle. They lose income, then focus on getting it back, instead of fixing the system that caused the loss. Open systems don't stay stable. If you don't change the structure, the outcome eventually repeats. So what actually changes this? One principle: ownership versus income. Income is what you earn. Ownership is what continues. Income requires effort. Ownership creates leverage. Income is active. Ownership can become passive, and until income is converted into ownership, it remains dependent. This is where structure comes in, not as theory, as protection. Separation between you and the income, you and the spending, you and the risk. Because if everything is still attached to you personally, you are the system. And if you are the system, you are also the risk. And this is where the shift happens. The goal was never to earn income forever. The goal was to use income to build something that doesn't depend on you. Something insulated, something controlled, something structured. Because income without structure doesn't stay protected. Now here's the part most people skip. There's a specific way to build this correctly, to separate income, to protect it, to convert it, to structure it. But most people never learn it until after they take a hit. If you're earning income right now, if you've had strong months, if you know what it feels like to produce and get paid, but you also know everything still depends on you, then you're exactly who this is for. If you want to understand how to actually build income that doesn't disappear when you stop working, that's what I break down inside the free O.N.C.E school community. Not motivation, structure. Now let's land this. Because the lesson here is simple, but not easy. T-Pain didn't fail because he couldn't earn. He proved he could. He lost ground because the structure didn't match the income. And then he rebuilt, which is something most people don't even get the chance to do. But you don't have to go through the loss to learn the lesson. You can build the structure while the income is still coming in. And that's the difference. So I'll leave you with the only question that actually matters. If your income stopped tomorrow, what would still be paying you? If the answer is nothing, that's not failure, that's information. And if the answer is something, make sure it's protected. Make sure it's insulated. Make sure it can't be casually accessed, because durability isn't about how much you make. It's about what remains. If you're earning but haven't built the structure behind it yet, you can start inside the free O.N.C.E school community below. That's where this shift actually begins. Because the goal isn't to earn forever. The goal is to build something that pays you even when you don't. That's the whole game. And that's what O.N.C.E is really about.